So on December 6, 2017, the Board of Accountancy welcomed into the fold its newest member, Dr. Gervacio Ilandag Piator, who formally took his oath before the Honorable Chofilo S. Pilando Jr., Chairman of the Professional Regulation Commission at the Philippine International Convention Center. It was a memorable trek for his lone nominee from the Northern Mindanao, whose aspiration was to join the distinguished board. Sir Gerry is an accredited external auditor of the Cooperative Development Authority, and in line with his position, was a Philippine delegate to a training workshop in audit management in Bangkok, Thailand, which earned him an accreditation as ASEAN Trainer of Audit Management for Cooperatives. Adding to his feather in his cap was being the lone CPA participant from Mindanao region in the trainers program for the practical application of the International Financial Reporting Standard, or IFRS. He is also a member of the CHED Technical Committee for Accountancy, the focal person for NACPAE and accreditation of accounting teachers, member Philippine Interpretation Committee, designated secretary of the Board of Accountancy, and the focal person for accountancy school monitoring and reporting to PRC and CHED. At present, Sir Gerry holds office as head of his own financial, taxation, and management consultancy firm, the GIP Accounting and Consulting Services. His activities do not only revolve around his professional life, but extends to the community and his church, where he assumed leadership as role head or president of various organizations. His love for his family is paramount, and his devotion to his wife, Ma'am Mary Vivian, unparalleled. His love for his 4 children, Marie Gerry, Mark Gerry, Mark Genevieve, and Mary Geraldine, is apparent in his active participation and leadership roles in the schools associations and confederations of parents, teachers, and students. A versatile performer who can act and dance. You can also ask him to sing, and he gladly will. Okay, so without further ado, he is also known as a man for all seasons. Let us welcome our resource person for this morning's educational forum, Dr. Gervacio I. Piator, CPA, MBA, DM. Sir Gerry.
A pleasant good morning to each and everyone. Hi. Hello.
Good morning, sir.
Hello.
Good morning,
Sir
everyone.
Gerry.
Good morning,
So I
sir.
am happy to see you this morning. It's not mentioned by Ma'am Hilda that I'm also very active in the cooperative movement. In fact, this will be my 10th year as chairman of Xavier University Community Multipurpose Cooperative, and I'm proud to represent Xavier University Community Multipurpose Cooperative, and I welcome everyone to this presentation. So this might be short presentation, but meaningful. So when our RCDC chair mentioned to me regarding this conference, I gladly suggested that we will discuss the usage of the statutory fund. So to start with, there are 4 statutory funds. So let's recall. First is the reserve fund, or we call it General Reserve Fund. Second, the CATF, the Cooperative Educational Training Fund. And third is the Community Development Fund. And fourth is the optional fund. So this is the equity portion of our financial statement presentation. So we will focus our discussion on the 4 statutory funds. So the highlight of my presentation I would like to connect the function or the usage of statutory funds to the joint rules and regulations issued by the Department of Finance implementing Articles 60, 61, and 144 in the Republic Act 95/20. So, by the way, my discussion will be based on the Republic Act 95/20 and also the memorandum circulars issued by USEC or Land Ravanera, no? So for specifically this time of pandemic. So, okay. The Article 60 mentioned in the Joint Rules and Regulation. This is all about the tax treatment for cooperative, and 61 is also the tax and other exemptions, and the 144 is the penal provisions. Now, so I would just like to highlight that any any evasion or tax evasion is punishable by law, no? So the board of directors and the CEO, the managers are responsible for the tax payment, no? So uh, if you will not pay the tax, you will be penalized in the amount of maliit man lang 30,000 to 100,000, or an imprisonment of 2 to 4 years. So I would like to emphasize to the primary cooperatives that we are taxable. So what I will explain later, who are those tax exempt and not tax exempt. Okay, so in the joint rules and regulations, ang pinaka-importante na statutory fund in the cooperative is the reserve fund, no? The reserve fund. Okay? It's clearly mentioned or stipulated in the joint rules and regulations. So by the way, the joint rules and regulation issued by Department of Finance was published in February 5, 2010. February 5, 2010 pa, and until now it's not yet amended. So therefore, our guidance will always be the joint rules and regulations of the made by Department of Finance and both approved by CDA and BIR. No? So this supposedly this will be the basis talaga every time BIR will conduct audits, no, tax audits with your primary cooperative. So in section 1, it's really mentioned there the legal basis is granting tax exemptions to cooperatives. No? Tax exemption actually, it's really, there's the legal basis that cooperatives are tax exempt, provided we will comply with the requirements set by the BIR. And I just would like to mention about in the section 2, or in the construction part, no, or the second paragraph of the joint rules and regulations. It mentioned there that in case of conflict or ambiguity which may arise in the implementation of these joint regulations, the same shall be resolved and construed liberally in favor of the cooperatives and their members as provided for in Article 142 of Republic Act 95/20. So it's a fact that sometimes when BIR send you letter of authority, you sometimes mga primary cooperative will evade, no? So sometimes they will not they will hide, and if possible they will not accept the letter of authority sent to its primary cooperative, no? So we are liable. So everyone should accept the letter of authority, because if you will not accept, still it will be printed there in the letter of authority that you refuse to accept. So refusal to accept, still you accept, but no signature lang from your end, but still BIR will count that as duly received, no, even if you will hide. So if ever there are a letter of authority sent to you, do not hide. Just accept it gladly, because the moment you will hide, you will not receive it. That's already a cause for penalty. So do not be afraid of the letter of authority, because that's really the function of BIR. No, it's in the joint circular. So do not be afraid. Just accept it heartily and comply the requirements. So the moment you will receive a letter of authority from the BIR, you receive it, and then if possible, comply with the number of days, diba? There's the number of days they will state in the letter. Just comply all the requirements, and then visit the BIR, and then submit all the required documents, because that's the function. So it's in the joint regulation rules and regulations. So anyway, if there are, as mentioned, if there are conflicts in the interpretation of the cooperative law and tax laws, actually, supposedly CBIR is very lenient to cooperative. Okay, it is in the section 2 of the joint rules and regulations issued by Department of Finance that if there are issues not resolved, actually in favor talaga sa primary cooperative, no? So supposedly love talaga ni Department of Finance sa cooperative. So let's not be let's just cooperate, no? Let's just cooperate with the letter of authority given to us. So okay, so I will start in the joint rules and regulations. There's what mentioned accumulated reserves. Accumulated reserves. So by the way, this accumulated reserves refers to the accumulated amount of money annually deducted from the net surplus, which shall be less than 50% for the first 5 years. So I think everybody knew that upon registration, so within 5 years, dapat 50% ang reserve fund, no? Reserve fund. So 50% for the first 5 years of operation, and at least 10% of the net surplus thereafter. So intended not for the allocation of distribution to the members, but for the protection and stability of the cooperative, commonly referred to as reserve fund. So by the way, the word accumulated reserves refers only to the reserve fund. So this will not include the CATF, the CDF, and the optional fund. So again, accumulated reserves is only the reserve fund. Okay, so is that clear? Okay, because we will use the word reserve fund in our next transaction, no? In the next presentation. And then it's also mentioned in the joint rules and regulations what you mean unrelated transactions. Unrelated transactions refers to transactions of cooperatives which are not part of the objectives and purposes as enumerated in the articles of cooperation. So please be careful, all the primary cooperatives, so that you will not be taxed, caught by the BIR. Make sure that even if you are multi-purpose cooperative, make sure that your primary purpose and secondary purpose in your articles of cooperation, nakastate talaga yung type of business. yung source of income. Because the moment BIR audit you, and then this particular income, for example, you have a ticketing business, or airplane ticketing or boat ticketing business, but it's not in the articles of cooperation or in your bylaws, you are automatically taxable. So please, Board of Directors, you have to amend talaga, you have to amend your articles of cooperation or bylaws before you will submit your income tax return to the BIR. You get my point? So, kailangan updated talaga. So, pwede kasi, if you are multipurpose cooperative, parang ang thinking kasi natin, yes, we are MPC, so we can do everything. So, specifically this time of pandemic ba, kasi, like for example, ang mga food cooperative, wala namang mga food. So, make sure, diba, sometimes we sell anything na lang, basta just to earn revenues. So make sure that what you are doing right now is within your articles of cooperation. Kasi if it's not in your articles of cooperation, you will be taxable. So delikado. Okay? So that's it. And then Section 6, no, the classification of cooperatives according to the extent of the tax exemption granted. So there are two types of classification for cooperatives. And number one, those duly registered cooperatives which transact business with members only. Diba? Transact business with members only. And the other one for both members and non-members. So be careful when you sell to your customers. Make sure that you have to separate talaga the transactions with members and transactions with non-members, because BIR will check on this. No, will check on this. So do not combine the sales or the record or the summary for members and non-members. So you have to separate it because there is tax component later on. So for the classifications of both members and non-members, this is further subclassified. Number one, cooperatives with accumulated reserve and undivided net savings of not more than 10 million. And then there is also more than 10 million. You get it? So first classification is you transact business lang with members. Ang second classification is you transact business with both members and non-members. But if both members and non-members, may limitation then. Those undivided accumulated reserve or reserve fund of not more than 10 million, and then meron ding more than 10 million and reserve fund. So again, when you say reserve fund, it's only accumulated reserves, it's only the reserve fund. So exclude CETF, CDF, and optional fund. So meaning, pwede, your reserve fund, for example, is 9 million. So you belong to the first classification, not more than 10 million. But if your reserve fund is more than 10 million, so 11 million, for example, so you now belong to the more than 10 million classification. So take note of this. So if you are in Section 7, the tax exemption duly registered cooperatives which transact business with members only, lang. So these are the tax exemptions. No, you are exempted with income tax, value added tax, donors tax, percentage tax, excise tax, documentary stamp tax, an annual registration fee of 500, and all transactions with insurance, banks, including but not limited to 20% final tax. So, by the way, I will not go into details because that's another topic in the seminar, ang taxation itself. No, so I just mentioned to you the general content overview of the joint rules and regulations affecting the statutory funds. Okay, so also the electric cooperatives are exempted with those tax mentioned, registered with the authority. But there are electric cooperatives not registered with the Cooperative Development Authority, so you are not tax exempt as mentioned here, no? In Section 8, taxability exemption of duly registered cooperatives which transact business with members and non-members. Cooperatives with accumulated reserves and undivided net savings of not more than 10 million, exemptions from all national internal revenue taxes enumerated in Section 7. So actually, exempt ka talaga sa tax if you serve only, your business transaction is with members only, or if your reserve fund is 10 million and below. Okay, 10 million and below. Okay. So those cooperatives with accumulated reserves and undivided net savings of more than 10 million, business in activities engaged in by such cooperatives with its members where said cooperative generates revenue shall be exempt from all national internal revenue for its of more than 10 okay, business transactions with non-members cooperative with accumulated reserves and undivided net savings of more than 10 million which transacts with non-members shall if your reserve fund is more than 10 million and you transact with non-members, you are liable with income tax and value added tax. Okay, so sometimes in actual experience talaga, I emphasize the accumulated reserve as equals reserve fund, no? Okay, sometimes it might be misinterpreted. It might be misinterpreted that the total of your four statutory fund is called reserve fund. So kasi the risk there kasi if your total statutory funds is more than 10 million, sometimes the interpretation is not correct, no? They will interpret it as total. For example, the total statutory fund is 15 million, and then your reserve fund is only 8 million. So you are tax exempt. You are tax exempt, no? So total statutory funds 15 million, and then your reserve fund is 8 million lang. So you are tax exempt. So you will not be charged. You will not be charged with a tax. You will not be computed with tax dues. Okay. So, but the cooperative will pay some internal revenue taxes, no? So you will pay capital gains tax, documentary stamp taxes on transaction dealing with non-members, VAT billed on purchases of goods and services, withholding tax on compensation, wages and creditable and final withholding taxes, and all other taxes for which cooperative are directly liable. Okay, so just make sure that your cooperative, once you register or renew your tax exemption certificate, make sure that you comply with the CDA requirement. So you should have the certificate of compliance, and you have to submit your certified true copy of certificate of registration at CDA, certified true copy of the articles of cooperation and bylaws, certified true copy of your certificate of compliance, and then BIR certificate of registration. So make sure that during the year, di ba 5 years man ang ating certificate of tax exemption. So dapat 60 days prior to the expiration, dapat nakasubmit na tayo sa BIR, no, for the renewal, because it's in the joint rules and regulations. Dapat within 2 months or at least 2 months, you already submitted your renewal documents to BIR, because the moment you will not comply with the registration requirement, dapat for the year taxable ka talaga. So if you don't have tax exemption certificate during the year, so when your external auditors audit your financial statement, you are taxable, no? You are taxable. So you have to file talaga the ITR, not exemption na ITR sa income tax return. So dapat ang i-file is yung 30%. So, di ba, for corporation, partnership and corporation is 30% man na siya. So very important talaga ang tax exemption certificate, because that's the basis of your being exempted with income tax or any other tax due. So pwede VAT, no? VAT, income tax. So make sure that you have to monitor talaga the compliance or the submission of the certificate of tax exemption. No? So as far as the role of the BIR, once they receive your application, supposedly CBIR will submit it to the regional office within 5 days. No, within 5 days upon submission of your complete documents. Example, you are in Malaybalay, so supposedly si Malaybalay will submit all documents to the legal department of Region 10. So you will monitor that also, no? You will monitor that also if they also forward your application to the region. And you know, there is a new law, we call it the ARTA, no, or the ease of doing business. Kami sa government office, actually we are limited with ano talaga days compliance, no. So 3 days, for example, if you will request for certification from this government office, actually there's the category, no, 3 days for easy transaction, 7 days compliance if it is a little simple and complex, and then 20 days, no, 20 days if it is complex talaga. But in our joint rules and regulations, 45 days kasi ang na-mention. So within 45 days upon submission of your documents, so walang response si BIR, actually sa amin talaga parang if 45 days walang action si BIR, wala namang comment as to lacking documents, that's deemed approved na talaga ang certificate of registration. So that's how we process documents in the government office, no. Kami naman sa PRC. So depending on the type of transactions or certification, actually 3, 7 and 20 days lang talaga. So when you say working days ang 3/7/20. So this is part of our ease of doing business. No? So this is a call of PRD to avoid nga yung red tape. No? So if possible gani we don't follow up, personal, we don't follow up face to face. So we will follow up lang through email, so email or calls. So this is really parang with this pandemic time, supposedly online na sana ang application, like that. So pero if you are required the face to face, we can go there naman talaga, cautious lang, with caution lang when we face people specifically in the government office. So sa ngayon, ang government offices talaga, we are given 3/7/20 days to comply any request for certification or tax clearances, for example. So unless there are lacking documents, that's the reason why ma-extend ang inyong accreditation, but registration or renewal. So the best thing to do is you really have to follow up. So you can follow up through calls or personal visit or email. Okay. Let's say, so very important. Um, so and very important also the control the books of accounts. BIR, the primary cooperative, no, regardless of your level or category, be it small, medium, large cooperative, you should have the books of accounts. So the books of accounts should be stamped at the BIR. No, so the books of accounts is not for record for keeping lang. Dapat it should be uh, there should be records of your books of accounts. So dapat your accountant, your accounting staff should record all the transactions and events. No, so okay, the moment the BIR will check your primary cooperative and then wala namang entries in your books of accounts, you will also be punishable, no? Punishable by law. So going back to the again ang reserve fund, very important. If possible, um, do not reach 10 million ang reserve fund, no? Para you will not be taxable, but you are taxable if you will not comply the registration requirements of BIR. So that's the essence there. So the reserve fund cannot be used for any purpose, no. So it will only be reserved for the stability of the cooperative. So hindi pwede na magbawas tayo ng expenses or transactions, then it will be taken from the reserve fund. So ang reserve fund talaga is reserved for future losses. So what you will do, for example, this time, no, na pandemic, most of the primary cooperatives are losing man talaga. So net loss man talaga tayo. So ang mangyari, example, you have a net loss of 1 million. So ipalabas talaga ang 1 million na net loss, and then that 1 million will be deducted from the reserve fund. So your reserve fund will now be reduced by the net loss for the year. So no other transactions that will be taken from the reserve fund. It's only if you are a net loss. So kung dili ka mag net loss, so walang reduction of the reserve fund. So you cannot use talaga the reserve fund. Okay? So let's proceed to the cooperative education and training fund, no? The CETF. So in Article 4, Section 5 of the Republic Act 95/20, it's really mentioned there that the cooperative should set aside fund for education, training, and information for officers and members. So, how many percent? It should not be more than 10% of the net surplus. So, not more than 10% of the net surplus. So, pwede pala 9%, 8% ang CETF, but it is a requirement that the CETF percentage, if it's not more than 10% or within 10%, dapat it is stipulated in your articles of cooperation and bylaws that this is the amount or the percentage of your CETF. So it should not be not more than 10%. No, not more than 10% of your net surplus. So by the way, the net surplus for the year, like in 2020, is the is uh, assuming 10% of that 10% of that is CETF. So parang yung ginagamit natin sa 2021 na CETF, those are CETF in 2020. So kasi it's based man on the net surplus of the prior year ang ating ginagamit this year. So this is a very important, provided that di ba annually the board of directors parang conducts a parang seminar or strategic planning. So dapat there is a cooperative development plan as to the usage of the CETF. So because you cannot use the CETF if it is not within your cooperative development plan. And then the cooperative development plan is usually presented and approved in the General Assembly. So that is the parang requirement, no, in the usage of CETF. So you cannot just use CETF for other purpose or other activities. So it's really for education, training, and information of officers. So, but there is the restriction, no, of the CETF with the new memorandum circulars of CDA signed by Yusek Orlando Ravanera. Half of the this is existing, no, and half of the amount of the CETF shall be spent for education and training purposes, and the other half may be remitted to a union or union chosen by the cooperative or which it is a member. So, ang mangyari, like for example, if your CETF is 1 million, ang 500,000 will be used for the primary cooperative. Will be used for the primary cooperative, and then ang 50% in the co-op law talaga, it's mentioned man na may be remitted, but
Here,
let's
let's
resume.
resume. Doc,
Okay.
Doc.
Yes.
We have question here. They have questions. Siguro,
Oo.
what time na to sila i-entertain ng questions?
Later na lang siguro. Sa,
Okay.
sa open forum na, we will have the
Okay.
open forum man.
Okay.
Sige, thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Let's continue.
Yes, Doc.
Okay. Very sorry, my PLDT Wi-Fi just tripped off. So buti na lang I have iPhone R10. So I'm back. Hi everyone. Am I clear?
Yes, Doc. Very clear.
Okay.
Loud and clear.
Sige. Thank you. I'm using iPhone this time. So going back to the CETF. So in the memorandum circular of CDA, it's mentioned there, parang nawala na ang maybe, no? So nawala na ang maybe. So automatic that 50% will be given to your secondary cooperative or tertiary cooperative at your own choice, no? So therefore in your financial statement, dapat naka-indicate na doon ang due to CETF, no? So due to CETF 50%, due when you say due to CETF, that's for the your contribution to the remittance to be remitted to your secondary cooperative, no? Secondary cooperative, and then ang 50% will be part of your statutory fund. So the statutory fund will be utilized for your trainings, education, and etc. So it's mentioned in the memorandum circular by CDA that the 50% education and training fund will be given more to the members, no? So parang 'di ba ang usual na CETF natin before, okay, parang ang nakinabang are board, mga officers, and etc. And management, no? So it's mentioned in the memorandum circular na if there is sharing of the CETF na 50%, dapat mas higher amount for the training education of the members. So kung halimbawa 500,000 for example is the 50%, dapat more of the 500,000, say 60% will be for the members and then 40% for the board and officers. So parang baliktad na this time kasi in the previous years before this memorandum circular, parang I think 90% are for for BOD and for officers, no, cooperative officers, and then or management employees. So ngayon mas marami ang budget for members, no, for members of your primary cooperative. Okay, so that's it. So we are obliged na talaga to remit the CETF to the secondary cooperative or tertiary cooperative which your cooperative belongs, no? Primary cooperative belongs, or a member or affiliated. So, okay. So for the union and federation naman, they are required also, once the CETF is remitted to you, you are required to submit to the authority the list of cooperatives which has remitted its CETF, and then what are your business consultancy assistance activities and other trainings. No? So that will be a separate discussion. Okay. And this is the highlight of the memorandum circulars. Di ba some of the cooperatives, has accumulated CETF, yung unused CETF for the past years. So in the memorandum circulars, it's mentioned here that you are obliged to remit now. Actually, in this pandemic time, supposedly ang deadline sana is 60 days after April 30, no? April 30. So April 30 kasi ang submission of our reports to CDA, but it's extended man. So extended, I think we're extended June 30 ba, no? Gilds, no? June 30 man ang deadline for the submission of the reports, mga CAPR,
yes,
June 30. So in the memorandum circulars, dapat 60 days after yung due to CETF ninyo to your primary cooperative or secondary cooperative and tertiary cooperative supposedly be remitted na to your chosen
secondary cooperative. So 50% lang yun ang i-retain in your financial statement. Kada time the mga field supervisors natin from CDA, they will check talaga your financial statements if you remitted na the CETF, no? The CETF to your secondary cooperative. So that's why kami sa XUCMPC, we we complied with the new memorandum circular of the CDA. Now we remit talaga the 50% of parang ang due to CETF na giset up last December 31, 2020 with our external auditors, dapat ma-remit na siya June 30, July, August 31. Dapat ma-remit na siya. So dapat zero na siya in your FS, no, zero na siya in your financial statement. But syempre because of the pandemic, siguro CDA also will be parang lenient enough, so parang they will not force you to remit immediately. So actually, ang ipa-remit talaga within August 30 or 60 days after June 30 is the due to CETF na 50%, no, for 2019 na audited FS, di ba, may due to CETF ka man, dapat ma-remit na siya within August 31. If you will follow talaga the memorandum circular, no, August 31, i-remit mo na with your chosen secondary cooperative or tertiary cooperative. So dapat in your trial balance or in your FS as of August 31, dapat wala na ang due to CETF. Yun ang titingnan ng mga field supervisor ng CDA if you will really comply with the memorandum circular. So but CDA is very lenient, parang kasama sa transition provision nila na those primary cooperative with 3 million and below within 3 years remittance. So example, ang 2019 ninyo CETF is 100,000, 50% of that is for your cooperative training. So and then 50% for secondary cooperative. So ang 50,000 will be remitted to the secondary cooperative of your choice. So depende lang, no? Depende lang sa inyong gusto, no? So within 3 years, pag may 3 million and above ka na CETF in the past years, no? So for example, 5 years may na-accumulate ka na CETF, ang i-remit lang talaga this August 31 is the 50% of your December 31, 2019 na FS. Pero ang mga previous years na mga due to CETF, you check your due to CETF, baka umabot na yan ng 5 million. So dapat within 3 years, ma-remit na siya with interest. Dapat you should have program na year 1, you will remit this one, year 2, will remit this one, year 3, will remit this one. Because the field supervisor will check your FS, no, once they will visit your primary cooperative. So be ready. Anyway, for this time, just make a parang a promissory note to CDA. When are you going to release or remit the 50% to your chosen secondary or tertiary cooperative? So if your CETF is above 3 million to 10 million within 5 years, no, within 5 years, ang parang installment remittance. If above 10 million, within 10 years. So dapat the cooperative should have a program. Should have a program of that. So actually, effective. This is effective already. This transition provision. So once the CDA supervisor, field supervisor will will visit your office, so they will check on this, no, as to the compliance of the CETF. So that's the highlight lang of the CETF. So kung halimbawa wala kang secondary affiliation or tertiary affiliation, you have to choose talaga. You have to choose your you have to choose your what cooperative you will remit your 50%. Okay, so that's the highlight of the CETF. And then let's go to the Cooperative Development Fund. No? So CDF, ang CDF shall not be less than 3% of your net surplus. So by the way, the CDF can be 4%, 5%, 6 and up, no, based on your cooperative bylaws. So the legal basis as presented in Article 4, Republic Act 9520, the CDF is established to answer the concern for community cooperatives work for the sustainable development of their communities through policies approved by their members. So, in Article 86 of the Section 3 of the Republic Act 9520, it shall not be less than 3% of the net surplus, and this shall be used for projects or activities that will benefit the community where the cooperative operates. So ito lang ang i-discuss ko further. It's clearly stated, stipulated in the Republic Act 9520 na you can use only your Cooperative Development Fund for projects that will benefit the community where the cooperative operates. So, like for example, kami sa Xavier University Community Multipurpose Cooperative, we are located, our address is in Corrales, no? Corrales. So, therefore, the recipients of our CDF funds will be the community which the HUCMPC operates. So nasa ano kami, nasa Divisoria, we give out food to mga street kids like that, and then we also give out something for the community, no? So like for example, may mga, di ba, there are calamities, no? There are calamities, CDF calamities, affected for example ang Bohol, affected for example ang North Cotabato, something like that. Actually, if you will read talaga the CDF, parang we will not use our CDF talaga. We cannot use our CDF for that purpose na kana bitong we donate to Yolanda, which is in Bohol, ano. So affected ang mga community, ang mga people like that. Actually, when we based talaga with the Republic Act 9520, we only use our CDF to the community where the cooperative operates. So anong mangyari? So kasi that's the definition. So dapat ang mga cooperative, primary cooperative in Bohol, in which their cooperative operates, sila ang maggamit sa kanilang CDF, no? So they will use their CDF in for that purpose. So kita, if ever we will donate, it will not be taken from CDF. If we will donate, for example, sa North Cotabato, mga Manila, for example, or somewhere else, we cannot use our CDF because the CDF is used talaga for the community members where the cooperative operates. So it will be charged to expense. So it will be donations. It should be expenses. It should not be taken from CDF. If you want to donate in Bohol and then you are in Cagayan de Oro, so the donation will not be taken from CDF. And then ang taga Bohol, they can use their CDF. So debit sila CDF, then credit cash in bank. So kita, na sa Cagayan de Oro, if you will donate to Iligan, still that's donation expense. So donation, debit donation, credit, cash in bank. So that's the interpretation of the Republic Act, unless it will be amended, no? So kay klaro man this so the CDF shall be used for projects or activities that will benefit the community within the area of operation of the cooperative. So very clear talaga. So with this pandemic, actually, di ba, nag-issue memorandum circulars si CDA na we can use the CDF to buy mga face mask, alcohol, any sanitation products like that. Then we can contribute it. We can give it to the community where our cooperative operates. So we don't need to go to Iligan just to distribute our goods. Kay dapat ang taga-Iligan na cooperative, sila ang mag-donate sa mga tao na affected. So we don't need to cross borders. So that's the essence of the CDF. So parang pang-community lang talaga siya. So the moment you will donate to other places, it will now be donation expense. So that will be part of your that will be charged to your operation. So it cannot be charged to CDF. So that's the memorandum circular, and it's based on the Republic Act 9520. And if you have CDA, by the way, again, ang sa pandemic, di ba ang pandemic started, the lockdown started in March 16. We did not foresee that there is pandemic. So again, it's a requirement of CDA that in 2019 pa sana, na-include na natin, we have the Cooperative Development Plan, how to use the CDF. So actually, kasama sa Cooperative Development Plan, ang how to use the CETF and how to use the CDF. So ang CDF supposedly exempted ang pandemic na mga activities, no, mga donations ninyo sa during pandemic time, exempted na siya, even if it's not included in your CDF Cooperative Development Plan. Kaya we do not know man talaga na this will happen. So exempted siya. There's a memorandum circular na the field supervisor will no longer check whether the giving out of rice, mga vitamins, face masks, face shields, PPAs are automatic na parang included in the Cooperative Development Plan. Kaya usually, ang Cooperative Development Plan, dapat this time, bitaw last quarter, this is the task na po of the Board of Directors and Officers to meet na, and then let's prepare na our Cooperative Development Plan for CETF and for CDF. So based on my presentation, you can use this presentation na as your basis when you make a plan. We still have November and December, pwede na tayo mag-plan. Kay requirement naman good ang Cooperative Development Plan. We cannot supposedly use the money without the approval of the General Assembly of our Cooperative Development Plan. So dapat we still have November and December to plan out how to use our CDF and CETF. So again, the same with the CETF. If you have accumulated CDF na daghan na kaayo, kung below 3 million lang within 3 years sad ang usage. So dapat gamiton gyud siya ang CDF. So dili siya pwede ipondo lang ang CDF, no? Gamiton gyud siya for community where your cooperative belongs. So magpa-project ka sa inyong community. Kaya the moment you will give it to other places, that's already expense. So dili na siya chargeable to CDF. And then above 3 million to 10 million, within 5 years. So dapat within 5 years magamit na ang CDF. above 10 million within 10 years, no? Within 10 years. Okay. So, as to the memorandum circulars for this pandemic time, you can use your CDF for the distribution of dami dito, no? So, distribution of food packs, vitamins, alcohol, soap, and other basic necessities may be distributed to those community members who are in dire need of help, but with adherence to safety protocols and ensuring that the procurement of these goods will not shortchange the members. So still, let's be careful as to the distribution also. So that's the CDF, and let's go to the optional fund. Very simple lang yun ang optional fund. Supposedly it's still for your, the optional fund talaga is for your for your land acquisition and building. So we have the statutory fund, the optional fund is intended for your land and building and any other necessary fund, the total of which shall not exceed 7%. So dili pwede mo exceed sa 7% ang optional fund. So I'm sure those mga large cooperatives, they have a huge amount na of optional fund this time. So there is a memorandum circular again issued by CDA that during this pandemic. So CDA, signed by the CDA chairman last March 26, 2020, optional fund may also be utilized by the cooperative if warranted by the circumstances for the benefit of its members and employees. So again, with this pandemic time, there is a special memorandum circular that instead of the optional fund can be used, can be used for the benefit of its members and employees. So members and employees. This, however, must later on be confirmed by the General Assembly. So it will now depend on the Board of Directors. So for example, if the Board of Directors will give out sack of rice to the members or to the employees during this pandemic, the action of the board should be confirmed during the General Assembly. That during next year's General Assembly, that during the pandemic time, you give out cash or you give out sacks of rice to your members, to your employees, and then pwede sad magpautang, So pwede sad magpautang then without interest. So actually, without interest, and then it depends talaga. Some primary cooperative, they gave out loans without interest but with service charge. So with service charge, and then of course, I'm sure everyone complied with the Bayanihan Act 1 and Bayanihan Act 2. Diba, there is the moratorium of I think most of the primary cooperatives had the moratorium of payment for the principal and interest for 2 months Bayanihan Act 1 and then 2 months in the Bayanihan Act 2. So in the Bayanihan Act 1 and 2, pwede wala mo ng salary deduction or payment, and then after those months, kaya 2 months man lang to siya, you can pay, parang extended lang talaga ang term, and then without interest, without interest charges. So pero pwede ka maka-charge siguro og service charge, kay para kay you will pay via the salaries of the employees. So at least man lang may service charge, so a minimal amount, but ang principal na may moratorium, and then ang interest payment, walang surcharges pala and penalties if you cannot pay within the period na extended due dates, So again, the Board of Directors, with your generosity, you can always make some parang yun na nga, you can plan out whatever you can give to your members, and then mga employees. You can get it from the optional fund. So that's the you can get it from the optional fund. It's, by the way, it's only optional fund that can be used during this pandemic. So it is in the memorandum circulars. So memorandum circulars that you can use the optional fund for this pandemic. So ang CDF, di ba, you can use it man, but still with restriction na it will be used within your community lang, which the cooperative operate. So ang optional fund, ang importante na if ever you will give out sacks of rice for your members or for your employees, basta i-confirm na siya in the 2021 General Assembly that you give out such goods or services during the pandemic time. So as of this time, pandemic pag actually, by the way, for the information of everyone, kabalo naman siguro mo, ang state of calamity is extended by the President on September 2021. So unless revoked earlier, no? So kung naanay vaccine. So meaning, up to September 2021 pag yun, wala pag yun tayo klaro ang atong operation yun karon, especially ang mga multipurpose cooperative. We are affected talaga, no? We are affected by this pandemic. So it's only optional fund that you can use for this period time. Pwede ipa-loan na walay interest, or pwede na give out goods to your members or to your employees. So that's it. So ladies and gentlemen, daghan kayong salamat sa inyong pagpaminaw. Then I will entertain question clarifications. Thank you very much, and God bless everyone.
All right.
Ma'am Jelds?
Yes, Doc. So thank you so much, Doc Gerry, no, for that very wonderful kay siya and very informative na discussion on the usage of our statutory reserves. Now, we are now in our open forum, no? So we will entertain questions. Siguro we will start muna for here in our chat kay meron na tay mga questions diri, Doc. Okay lang, unahon nato ni ang chat, Doc.
Yes, sige. We still have the time.
We have question here from Jason Raichi.
Yeah.
I think Dr. Gerry have already answered your query about the usage of CDF. So sa CDF ba, Doc, if CDO based ang co-op, dapat ra jud taga CDO ang beneficiary, or it can be nasa Bukidnon or Region 10.
Yeah,
So,
even in the Republic Act 9520, it's clearly mentioned talaga ang restriction in the use of CDF. Kasi di ba we understand that there are 24,000 primary cooperatives in the Philippines. So dapat pag nasa Bukidnon ka, if Bukidnon needs your help, dapat ang mga primary cooperatives in Bukidnon will pool resources and then give to the affected area or people so that you can charge it to CDF. Kasi if you are from Cagayan de Oro, you operate in Cagayan de Oro City, and then you give goods and etc. to Bukidnon, it will be charged to donations. It will not be charged to CDF. That's at the Republic Act 9520, and it's reiterated in the Memorandum Circular of USIC. So that's the interpretation talaga. So of the law. Thank you.
or thank you, Doc. So we have here another question from Cora Nympha Vivar.
Yes.
Muna yung question, Doc. What if the chosen federations will just require 30% and 25% only of the CETF? What will happen to the remaining 55% unremitted CETF? Example, NATCO 30% and MASPEC 25% of CEPF.
Oh, so actually may mga secondary cooperative and tertiary cooperatives with limit, no? So actually ang exist talaga, you have to give out to other if you are not affiliated ka talaga, you will remit talaga to other secondary or tertiary cooperative even if you are not affiliated or a member, kasi that's the memorandum circular man talaga. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, exactly. From Ma'am Judith Lagura, can we use the optional fund as collateral for loan to purchase a lot or construct a building for the Prim Co-op's operations? Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for me, when you say collateral, you already have the land and the building, no? You already have the land and the building. So, kaya suppose the optional fund is to be used man for the acquisition of land and building. So, I think it is the approval of your board and the General Assembly. Good na you will use the land and building you acquired to be as collateral. So it needs approval talaga of the board and it should be confirmed in the General Assembly. So if you have major acquisition, hindi pwede na si board lang ang mag-approve. So dapat it should be approved also in the General Assembly. You can call a Zoom meeting with the General Assembly para for that approval. So dapat approve talaga with the General Assembly.
Okay, thank you. So we have here another from Servus PC from Marife Montebon. Sir, good AM. For Bayanihan Act 1 and 2, which consists of 4 months, does it mean that as cooperative, we are not allowed to charge interest on loans for the 4 months?
What I understood is just a moratorium of the payment of principal and interest. So there is still interest. Ang gi-avoid lang is surcharges. Di ba we have the interest and then the surcharges and penalties. Walang surcharges and penalties, and then i-extend, siyempre kung 4 months na siya, so extended ang collection for 4 months, and then no surcharges and penalties. Pero interest is the regular income man talaga yan of the cooperative. Thank you.
All right. So I think we still have time, Doc, no? Are you still?
Yeah, very much.
Okay. Okay, sige.
Welcome. O mga BIR.
For the pleasure, we will. Yes. Unahon sa nato ni ang chat dere, or if naamoy mga questions, you can unmute.
Chat.
No?
Chat.
Sige. Or after the chat, we will recognize, acknowledge mga questions kung gusto mo directly kay Doc Gerry to ask questions. So let's continue.
Welcome. It's my pleasure.
Okay, we have here again from Cora Nympha Vivar. What if the branches CDF were remitted to head office? What if the
CDF?
Yes, were remitted to CDF. Is it right, Ma'am Cora? Do you mean that CDF?
Yes.
Remitted.
Kaya di ba i-link sa location sa branch ang usage, hospital Camiguin, so within Camiguin lang. So ang katong CDF sa Balingwan, kung gi-remit nila ni head office, pwede ba ma-finance ko dahil dito sa Balingwan?
Okay. Sige, so in my understanding, like kung mga branches, no, so actually ang law naka-mention lang which the cooperative operates. So if you have branches nationwide, so if you have branch for example in Balingasag, you can use, di ba may CDF man din ang may net surplus man ang Balingasag. So based on the net surplus of Balingasag, you multiply 3% CDF, no? 3%. So dapat ang pwede lang ma-release ni Balingasag within their area na be taken from the CDF is their share. So parang 3% of the net surplus. So actually, they can use the CDF provided their cooperative belongs to that community. Kaya recognize man sad na nga branch in the community. So pwede good ka mag-give, no? So it should be included in your cooperative development plan. So that's why mga branches dapat may cooperative development plans sila for their community. So legit.
Okay, so I think okay na Ma'am Cor. All right, so let's proceed to next question from Luz Gaa from Shufasco. What are the benefits we can get for 50% remittance to Federation?
So si Federation, actually, basi na si Sir Dave.
Si Sir Dave.
Secondary cooperative. Si Sir Dave, pwede siguro maka-answer, no, si Sir Dave. Pero actually, as far as the memorandum circular issued by the CDA, secondary cooperative also is accountable, no? Accountable to CDA. So parang we will submit list of primary cooperatives who remitted their CETF, and then supposedly ang CETF talaga na collect ng secondary cooperative, they will use it for trainings, mga subsidized training na instead of 1,000 sana ang payment because you remitted lugar your CETF, ano na lang, 500 na lang. So basically, ang mga training fee sa secondary cooperative, parang nag-subsidize sila. So kung regular nga seminar, mahal man na siya. But now lagi kay we are Zoom naman lang. So i-reduce gihapon ang charges sa Zoom because they will liquidate, they will prepare ang mga secondary cooperative, they will prepare a report also to CDA how they utilize the CETF remittances. So si secondary cooperative actually dili mong yun na income nila ang CETF remittance, so it's just a subsidy from the primary cooperative. So ang income yun supposedly ni secondary cooperative are the trainings they conducted, and then kung naa sila yung mga pa-loans, mga interest income nila. So actually ang CETF remittance is not an income, so parang it is a subsidy to the secondary cooperative, and then they are accountable to liquidate it to CDA. Okay, thank you.
Can I add, Doc Gerry, as a Federation Manager? Actually, kanang struggle sa co-op kay ang due to CETF or due to the Federation, wala nagipalo sa mga primary cooperative. And then nagiging useless siya kung asa lang maglakaw-lakaw ang mga co-op, and then wala. Then karon with that new circular, pabor ni siya sa nakangipon na gyud ang balaod na i-remit. Ang pangutana man gud kun unsa benefit sa Federation, kana magong kwartaha dili na sa co-op. Mauna ang obligation nato na kung asa ka na belong. Ang PFCCO Mindanao League, membro na siya sa PFCCO National, garimit mi. Unya, membro man ang PFCCO National sa ASEAN Confederation of Credit Union. Membro man na sa World Council of Credit Union, garimit po na siya ngadto sa international na mga organization because naa na siya ay obligation. So, as a primary cooperative, we have a legal identity. Dili na tungin kag unsay makuha na ko diha, but rather this is our obligation. And then the Federation will the Federation now will, like MASPEC, PFCCO, NATCO, will now program that CETF remittance. Tama si Doc Gerry, dili income na sa amua. And then ang CDA na stricto kayo, mangayog listahan. Unya ang among operation all over Mindanao man, mga yung listahan na mao pa ni ang sa Davao na nag-remit. Pag nag-remit gani ang co-op og 10,000, maglingo-lingo ang CDA Davao, mingo binuang man ni kaayo. Ang income sa co-op is 2 million, and nag-remit lang og or 20 million, nag-remit lang og 10,000. So ilan ang inspeksyonon ang mao? Co-op kami pud gi-inspection to mi giun sa paggamit. So dili na mo naay breakdown, naay subsidy for training, naay subsidy for salaries and wages for the federation, and then katong naapoy subsidy for kining mga sa ba to? Katong sa remittance mo sa tertiary or sa international na mga alliances, something like that. So mag-reflect na siya, murag cash flow ra gyud siya. Sakto tong giyong Dr. Gerry, mag-reflect lang, nagpilay na remit, unya ipakita na mo inspection sa CDA na mag-zero in siya, wala siya kuan, walay mabilin. Unya pagka next year na anapoy na nasay remittance mo, ana poy buhaton na mo, ano pagkahuman ana mag-zero in na sad siya. So naday publication, ni di naman uso ang publication karon na ana sa mga Facebook, ganyan mga kuan, mga so gigamit po namo for GAD kanang youth activity. Kunyari naatay kanang quiz ball, poster making, oratorical. Ang gasto na namukabat po 200,000, something like that. Gikuha na mo dito sa CATF nag-remit sa mga primary co-op. So mara na. Salamat kaayo. Thank you very much, Dr. Gerry and Ma'am Hilda.
You're welcome. Okay,
Thank
more
you,
questions?
Sir. Yes, more questions, Doc.
I like your questions. I'm excited to answer, to clarify. Sige.
Okay, thank you, Doc. So to continue, we have another question from OIC, Sir Rene Hilot. Follow-up question about the use of CDF, Doc.
Okay.
Sir, is it not the area of coverage will be the basis, or we will confine to where our offices is located?
Area of coverage? Sige, we will...
Is it I'll repeat the question. Is it not the area of coverage? Will be the basis, or we will not? We will be confined to where our offices is located. From OIC, maraming branches.
Thank you. Yeah, as mentioned kanina, if you have branches nationwide, and then like for example, your branch is in Iligan, so the Iligan branch can declare or can use the CDF, the Cooperative Development Fund for their community, for their CSR. Pwede, pero not the whole. Ang point ko lang is the budget, di ba, 3% man of the net surplus for the Iligan operation. So dapat you should compute, there's accounting here, no? So you should compute how much is the 3% of Iligan branch, and then dapat included din siya sa Cooperative Development Plan in Iligan. So dapat ang plan natin, if you have so many branches, dapat by branch then ang utilization of CDF, like that. So actually it's not the coverage. So if your cooperative is located in Iligan or Cagayan de Oro, for example, you can use your CDF allocation. So, pero not that you're only like for example kami XUCMPC in Cagayan de Oro lang, we cannot use our CDF to Iligan, to Bukidnon, but if we will donate, we will charge it to donation expense. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Doc Gerry. I think na-answer na ang query ni Sir Renena. So next is from FEPMPC from Moderic Siasat. So ang question, Doc, our tax exempt was expired since March 25, 2020. Until now, we're not still finished or renewed. If ever we're able to renew this month, what will happen to our income from April to October 2020? Is it taxable or not?
Okay. So, i-clarify ko lang, meaning nakasubmit na sila with the complete documents for renewal at the BIR office. That's the
I think
basis.
so kasi
Oo, nakasubmit na
yes.
sila.
Nag-expire sila noong
Okay.
March 25, 2020 pero
March 25,
ongoing ang kanilang
2020.
processing.
Oo,
Yes
and
po.
then
No.
as mentioned kanina, there's the dapat you submit all your documents or application 2 months prior. So even if you
Prior.
submitted it within the 2 months, as long as you submitted it before the expiry date, you have to wait talaga, no? Wait talaga the tax exemption certificate. So actually in the joint rules and regulations, kung wala pa talagang tax exemption certificate for the period, for example monthly ka man mag-remit ng VAT o income tax, quarterly ang income tax and then the VAT, then you don't have the tax exemption certificate. Actually it's in the joint circular na rules and regulations na you can pay, you can remit the tax dues the time na wala ka pang tax exemption certificate, and then you can get a refund once you will receive the tax exemption certificate, and then within 120 days i-process yun na ni BIR ang refund. So that's in the joint rules and regulations. So kung wala ka pang tax exemption certificate for the period of April, May, June, July, August, actually taxable yun ka. So that's my interpretation. Taxable ka, you can pay. Pero pag once you will receive na your tax exemption certificate, you will just apply, you will collect, you will request for a refund sa BIR, and then refund is obliged, BIR is obliged to refund to you within 120 days. So that's the rulings talaga. If we will follow the rulings. Pero yung ang uban, wait and see man lugar sila, di lagi ta ma-check sa BIR, so something like that. But ang totoo, yan ang totoo. So it depends how you will defend later on if you will not comply. That's Gels. Klaro ba?
Okay. Yes, Doc. Thank you. What's the pleasure of everyone? Kanang sila na lang mo question or I'll continue na lang the chat dire, Doc. What do you think?
Mas maayo man basahon nimo chat group kay daghan kay
Basahon na
question.
lang.
Oh, daghan kay question, no?
Or sila na lang ko ipakuan.
Ikaw na lang.
Mention.
Ikaw may nag-moderator.
Ako
Ikaw
na lang.
Yes.
Okay, sige.
Ikaw na lang, ma'am,
So
para
from
paano,
Amel,
paspas.
sige. From Amel Panaraag, Doc, kung magpahulam sa mga member og loans without interest but with service charges from optional fund, tagpila kaha ang ma-avail sa mga member or pila kaha ka porsyento ang igahin para ma-serve as loan as assistance for our members during this COVID-19 surgery. Amel Panaraag po of DMPI.
Oo. Kami sa XUCMPC, actually kasi kami we are institutional cooperative, no? So our members are employees of Xavier University. So i-base namin sa capacity to pay. So actually we require man talaga the net pay, and then based on the net pay, average net pay, with the generosity also of the board, they will also approve a certain amount, pwede uniform amount like 5,000, 6,000, not necessarily huge amount, parang subsidy lang talaga ito just to help our members also in this time of pandemic. So not necessarily man talaga na we will fill their needs, no? So the board of directors will evaluate talaga how much amount they are going to loan out to the members. So also i-check nila ang capability also of the members. That's our basis. So depende good sa ila, and then it will be confirmed again in the General Assembly next year. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I hope na-answer ang query ni Sir Amel, no? Panaraag. So moving on to our next question from OIC, Ma'am Chinky Rose Papuro. Doc Gerry, about having plans
Yes.
on the utilization of CETF, CDF, optional fund, is it required to have a separate presentation of it from the annual budget for GA approval?
Actually, ang requirement ni CDA is only cooperative development plan. So, the cooperative development plan encompass everything. So, just mention there, one page of your plan, one page of the CDP or the cooperative development plan is usage of CETF. Okay, so there is the month and then the title of the seminar, who will participate, like that. So, ganun lang ka-simple. Ang importante na it's included in the plan, and then it will be approved in the General Assembly. So CETF, CDF, and optional fund. So by the way, si optional fund up to this pandemic time lang. So I mentioned kanina na the state of calamity, we will base the usage of our optional fund up to the resolution circular of the president na up to September 2021. Actually, up to September 2021 or earlier, state of calamity pa tayo. So we can maximize pa the optional. After the state of calamity, automatic SAD, supposedly, mag-issue na naman si CDA ng another circular, no, kung ma-lifted ng state of calamity. So by this time, the cooperatives are generous to their members because of the pandemic up to September 2021. So you can always, the board of directors is responsible on that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doc Gerry. So, can we entertain questions? Continue na lang ako ni Doc. So,
Okay.
we have here another question from Maria Veronica Largue.
Yeah.
Sir Gerry, can we use part of our optional fund if we give goods to our members?
Yes. As mentioned kanina, the optional fund can be used for this pandemic time, but is subject. Dapat the board will approve it with a resolution, and then it will be confirmed in the next General Assembly. That's the requirement lang of CDA. Thank you.
Yes po. From Judith Lagura, a primary or secondary has paid an annual registration fee of 500, when in fact it was stipulated on the certificate of registration the exemption of it, but still the BIR collected it annually. Thank you. Can it be refunded when the collection was erroneous?
Ang registration, actually, I do not know which district is that, no, RDO. Pero it's clearly stated ang cooperative talaga is exempted man of the registration fee, even if you are not by the way, baka ginamit ni BIR na baka walang COC, certificate of compliance, or baka nag-request sila ng certificate of compliance from CDA and then from certificate of tax exemption. Baka yun ang ginamit nila, no, na they will collect the registration fee if you don't have that one. Kaya how will we know that you are a parang compliant cooperative, no, if you don't have the COC? So that's why it's really advisable now we will comply all the reportorial requirements of CDA. So by the way, so ako lang i-reiterate, no, na our financial statements talaga should be audited by accredited external auditor of CDA. So before it will be, and also a BIR accredited ang external auditors. for our financial statement. So I think that's the reason of the BIR na yun ang ginamit nila na baka wala kang COC, wala kang tax exemption certificate, then you are taxable. We will collect from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. So I hope na answer ang question ni Ma'am Judith Lagura. Moving on to our next nato na question from MCHS Maria Fe. So, Sir Gerry, what will happen if our tax exempt expired na since April 2020? Unsay mahitabo sa among income from May to December 2020? Ongoing na may comply.
Yeah, as mentioned kaganina, so in the joint circular, pag wala pa yung tax exemption certificate, you can pay, you can remit what is due to BIR, and then once you have the tax exemption certificate, you write letter to the BIR which the cooperative belongs, and then request for a refund. Then BIR will act on it as well. That's it. Pero that's the risk. So that's the risk. That's the statement I can give talaga. Pero as tax practitioner, it's different. I am not sharing as tax practitioner what to do, because it might not also be fair to the BIR. So I just follow what is stipulated in the joint rules and regulations. So for further clarifications, pwede naman they can text me. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doc. Ingon pa ni Doc Gerry, pwede na dito maka-text or tawag sa iya if you natay mga concerns. So moving on, from Sir Julius Haganas, when you say cooperative development plan, does it cover only the community development related activities? Question niya, Doc.
Yeah, so actually ang cooperative development plan, that includes your strategic plan, lahat. So mga marketing plan or whatever plan, marketing plan, mga property and equipment plan, all the plan, no? All the plans, so it will be included. So naka-highlight lang sa heading lang, CDF, CATF, like that. So per page na lang siguro para ma-highlight when the field supervisor inspect your CDP, madali lang makita. So with indexes, pwede man your cooperative development plan with table of contents, and then the page like this na ang CDF, na ang CATF, optional fund, everything. So dapat ang 4 funds kasama siya sa statutory funds kasama siya sa CDP. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So ubay-ubay na gyud atong mga questions dali. So I think can we still extend our time until 12, Doc?
Oo, sige.
Okay
Nice
na sa imo?
Most welcome.
Okay.
Oo. Wala ko gigutom.
So
I'm happy to
gigutom.
serve my constituents. Actually, basin.
Thank you kayo.
Proud kagayanon man gid ko. So that's it. I love my region 10.
Wow, thank you, Doc. So, actually, gihatag na gyud ni Dr. Gerry ang panahon karon free for us para mahatag niya po diyang knowledge aning usage sa statutory reserves. No, we are very thankful for him na despite sa iyang kabisi, sa iyang pagka-BOA na member, hatag yapon siya panahon. So let's take this opportunity. So kung na may mga questions pa, sige, ato nagbasahon until 12. So moving on from Ma'am Cora Nimpa again, from Cora Nimpa. So any suggestion on how to conduct education to our members, considering we are restricted here in our area to have a gathering? We also have challenge on connectivity. Pwede, we will make bawi after the community quarantine.
So actually, that's the trend man talaga. So kami actually pag mag-board meeting kami, we use the messenger, no? We have a group messenger. Pero limited lang ang group messenger to 8 people. So actually the trend this time talaga is webinar, Zoom naman talaga. So we have to adapt. Anyway, I'm sure the field supervisor and CDA people are very lenient this time. So they will not impose so much from us. So ang concern talaga natin ngayon is how to comply with the requirement of training, education, no? So basta importante, if there's the chance, if there's invitation from CDA, let's grab it, and then let's participate para may ma-report naman tayo sa CDA. Okay, that's number 5 report ba yan, no? List of trainings and seminars. So we don't have that choice. We will find ways talaga how to this one, no? This is included as your training, seminar attended. So maximize na lang yun, no? Maximize talaga your time in attending mga Zoom webinars. So please find time. If ever Ma'am Jilds will send you mga link for the seminars, maximize. If you need to go to somewhere just to get internet connection, you have to go there para to comply lang with the requirements of CDA. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. Yes. We have dili siya question but a statement lang niya from MTIM Edu Co-op, Ma'am Ann. So BIR should be made to understand the co-op organization, especially regarding the statutory funds. Yan ang suggestion, Doc. And also, to encourage primary co-ops to join the federation, the co-op should get the support from the federation in times they need help.
Yes, all the time.
From
Actually,
MTIM.
actually, so actually that's supposedly be the role of the federation. So that's it. Siguro kay maraming members man sa federation, sometimes it also need proper timing of the schedules. So that's their task, yes, talaga to link with primary cooperatives.
Yes. Okay, so from Logoeco, Sir Ariel Galaroza, Doc, do we still have to comply with the manual entry to book of accounts when we already applied for the use of computerized accounting system at BIR?
Yeah. What do you mean you applied, and is it approved? Is it if it's approved now with the BIR that you are allowed to use the computer? Actually, different man talaga ang books of accounts and data that you inputted in the computer, no? So actually it's in the law talaga, di ba? When we submit our economic survey to CDA, when we apply for registration at CDA, naka-require talaga doon ang parang statement of the chairman that we will keep books of accounts. And that's so actually ang books of accounts, the physical books of accounts really is a requirement. So it should be stamped at the BIR, which your cooperative belongs, this district, should be stamped within December 31 of its year, no? Unless
Doc,
you have prior arrangement.
Doc, can I add?
Yeah.
Doc Gerry, can I add?
Yes.
Affiliate na muna, and then naatay software, you know that. By the way, Doc Gerry is a former board of PFCOML and treasurer. Naatay software, ang software registered sa BIR. So ilan ang gi-inspect tanan, mga book of entry tanan. So authorize me. Pag mag-install me like Logo Eco, you need ang Logo Eco kinahanglan mo apply siya na mo gamit sa software na approve sa BIR. So mao nang ilang gi-process karon. So ang ubang co-op once na naana siya approval sa BIR na nigamit ani na software, wala na pud sila magkuan sa katong mga kuan kay ang entry naa naman sa software tanan gi-inspection naman na sa BIR na pwede na nina isyuhan man og certificate do na ang kini is okay na. Naagya po yung uban na nag-maintain gihapon og manual. So duhay lang gigamit ang software ug ang manual. So medyo kuan na hago na sa co-op ba kay authorized na gud sila na mogamit sa accounting software na registered sa BIR and then mag-manual pag yun. So addendum lang na Doc sa katong pangutana. Ano. Thank you very much, Ma'am Amilda.
Thank you.
All right.
Continue.
So let's continue. We have here from another question from Oro Savings MPC from Ma'am Chinzin Fabre. Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. Based on the IIR of RA 11494 or the Bayanihan to Recover as One Act published by BSP under Rule 5, Section 5, banks and NBFIs that agree to further loan term extensions or restructuring pursuant to Section 4 of the Bayanihan shall be entitled to regulatory relief, which may include but is not limited to one staggered booking of allowances for credit losses, 2 exemptions from loan loss provisioning, and so on. Applicable din po ba for primary cooperatives? Question. That is a question from Oro Savings.
Okay. Actually, I was able to browse a portion of the Bayanihan to Health Act to actually kasama manggod ang financing institutions. So the financing institutions include mga credit cooperatives kasi we are credit cooperatives. So we belong to the financial institution. So included talaga kung nagpautang tayo, we are included in the Bayanihan 12 Act 2, no? So included talaga. So the same approach, the same application. Thank you.
All right. So I hope na answer ang question ni Ma'am Chin, no? So moving on, time check, it's 11:27.
Wow,
so,
more time.
Padayon na lang kaani. More time. So from Samco, Marlene Romeo. Sir Gerry, ang among co-op officer dili tanan naka-comply og mandatory training tungod aning pandemic. Makahatag ba og training ang CDA para sa mga officer? Mauni ang requirements para makakuha og COC. Ako na lang siguro mo kuan ani mo tubag gani kay Samco. So yes, ma'am, si Samco as of now na-categorize na ni siya as small cooperative. Dili na ni siya micro. So our regional director is very kuan na gyud siya karon strict regarding sa implementations of the mandatory training. In fact, we will not issue certificate of compliance by next year unless all the officers of the cooperative naka-undergo sa mandatory trainings by CDA. So unsa tong mandatory trainings kadong fundamentals of cooperative, second is good governance and management. That is for the micro cooperatives, and we have additional training requirement for small to large, that is the financial management. So sa pagkakaroon, we have a mandate by CDA na we will give priority only for the micro cooperative. So we have already a series of trainings for the mandatory training, the 2 mandatory, the fundamentals of cooperative and good governance and management, but that is only for the micro co-ops. Gitagaan na mo og priority ang mga micros kay di man sila maka-afford og kuan kanang bayad sa atong mga training provider. So for the small to large co-op, wala tay choice ma'am kundi dinha na gyud sa atong mga training providers kay naaman tay CDF or ETF, Education and Training Fund. So we will utilize it for the training sa atong mga officer. So sadly, wala for now, for the whole duration of 2020, we will only prioritize the micro co-ops. We give trainings, mandatory trainings for them, for the micro co-ops. So for some ko na nabilong sa small na category, ma'am, magkuhan gyud mo ma'am, gamiton gyud nato atong education training fund to send our officers for trainings. In fact, I think naman si Sir Dave Gerry, so pwede ta makatap sa PFCCO, basi na sila ikahatag pod na kanang mga webinar, si webinar training, Sir Dave, no?
Yeah,
for
actually,
kanang
yes.
mga mandatory training.
Link raman na kay kani gini nahitabo na mo sukad nag-pandemic, dili na nung kumakakuha og Sabado kay halos tanang Sabado na ko nakuha sa webinar ng mga training. So we provide training and then we will just inform our affiliate now to log in so that they can also we can also issue certificate na naka-comply sila sa mga training. Pero webinar gyud kasagaran karon kay di man pwede ta mo kuan tapok-tapok. Salamat Ma'am Gelda.
Yes po. Okay. So next question here from Ma'am Jessica Desera from Suco. So based on MC 2020-18, regulatory relief measures for cooperatives with credit operations in view of COVID-19 pandemic, exclusion of the amounts of past due loans during the periods of ECQ and MECQ in the computation of allowance for probable loan losses. In Cagayan de Oro, we are declared ECQ or MECQ. Can the co-op avail of this relief? That is question of Ma'am Jessica, Ma'am Jing sa Suco Doc.
So, sandali. I am not privy with the memorandum circular. What is mentioned in the memorandum circular?
Ang na-mention na Doc is memorandum circular number 18 na
2018.
Yes,
Yeah,
Sir
number
Dave.
18.
2020.
Number 18.
Memorandum circular number 18 series of 2020. Ang na-mention is katong naigo during sa pandemic, dili si ay appeal sa sa ang understanding nako Doc dili siya i-appeal sa kanang past due na ay relief. So ako nang ipasa-pasa sa mga manager sa mga credit operation mo nang naa siguro sa Ma'am Jessica. So ang implementation na mo ana Doc Gerry is tanang mga co-op kay circular man sila sa CDA number 18. So dili na magbari kun na ECQ baka or ECQ kay nga kung namay nanawag nako GM pwede ba may makakuha na circular man na so sige istoryahin sa inyong board para magkaroon og resolution regarding on that memorandum circular number 18. So mao na interpretation namo.
Sige. So anyway, actually when you say we are still, by the way, we are still in quarantine, no?
Yes,
so
yes.
we are not in the new normal yet. So the new normal is the normal na. So everybody, entire Philippines are still in quarantine. So I understand with that memorandum circulars, with this pandemic time, I think it's applicable to all talaga. It's applicable to all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Sige lang Ma'am Jing, kay CDA Cagayan will also give us interpretation aning MC 2020-18 para ang application ani na circular, no, if Cagayan de Oro is included ani na MC. All right, so okay, so last okay, so I think maura to ang mga questions na cover naman siguro nato tanan mga questions diri sa chat box, no, nalay
Naipahabol ma'am taga Phil Vinil.
Naipahabol from Phil Vinil MPC. So okay, in behalf of Phil Vinil MPC, I would like to thank Dr. Gerry Piator for a very informative session and clarifying the gray areas in terms of cooperative compliance to BIR and CDA, usage of statutory funds, and other pertinent topics. Okay, I'm very happy to have not missed this seminar. Thank you, Doc and Miss. And have a wonderful. So, pasalamat na dito si Doc.
It's my pleasure. Salamat.
Silvinil. So, naalay mga kanderi hangyo diri sa atong chat, Doc, kung pwede ba sila mga number sa imuha?
Yes, ano na lang. Sige, take note, your presence in 0917 708 7315. 0917 708 7315. I can be of help. That's Globe number.
Yeah.
Thank you po, Doc.
Okay. All right. I think
pwede po ba magtanong po?
No? And sige. We have here from kinsa ni siya. Sir, please state your name na lang po and your cooperative. You are acknowledged,
Ranel,
sir.
yes po. Thank you po. My name is Ranel A. Hakulbi from San Jose Multipurpose Cooperative po.
Yes, go on, sir. Go on, sir.
Okay po. Sir Gerry.
Yes.
Kasi po nung pandemic po, nagbigay po kami ng package ng grocery during the pandemic. Tapos, at that time, hindi pa po namin alam yung result ng operation. Pagkatapos na magbigay ng package po, worth 300 pesos per package, the result of the FS kasi po is losing po yung po. Tapos po, ano po yung treatment nung nabigay po naming assistance po? Pwede po yan i-deduct po sa reserve fund or i-treat na lang po as dividend po? Ganun po.
So as mentioned, of the 4 statutory funds, it's only optional fund can be used with the circumstances, no, with this pandemic time, can be used by the cooperative, primary cooperative, with the approval, of course, with the board resolution and to be confirmed in the next General Assembly. All the donations or assistance to your members and employees in the community where the cooperative operates. So as long as it will qualify with the requirements, so you can reclassify. You can reclassify if you charge it to expense, you can reclassify. Now you debit optional fund, then credit is that taken, or if it's cash, no, they can credit cash in bank. So it will no longer be charged as expense, provided there is attached board resolution. And then within the pandemic time, within the state of calamity time. Thank you.
Thank you po. Thank you po,
Okay.
Sir Gerry.
Welcome.
Okay, thank you, sir. So any more questions from our participants? Basta na pa mo gusto na ipahabol kay Doc Gerry? Yes, Doc.
Yes. Napa?
Pwede mo question? Clarification lang.
Oo. Sige, Jeng. Hi, Jeng.
Hi, Sir Gerry.
Good afternoon. Yes,
good
Jeng.
noon.
Oo.
Nag-mention man ka ganina, sir, na pwede magamit ang CDF pa-loan sa members.
Not CDF, optional fund.
Not optional fund. So, ang entry pag-release, paon sa optional fund?
Temporary, di ba you will get it man sa optional fund, no? You will borrow. So, parang pag mag-collect di ba pag debit good optional fund, credit cash in
Optional
bank.
fund.
Oo,
Cash in
debit optional fund and credit cash in bank. And then pag makolekt na,
Pag-collect
ibalik siya
sa
sa optional
optional.
fund. Oo. So
Okay.
debit cash in bank, credit optional fund. So
Okay,
ibalik.
thank you, sir.
Oo, thank you.
All right. So I think everything is covered. Nalang tayo gamay na pahabol dari from Pasko.
Yes.
If na member officers dili maka-join sa mandatory seminar due to pandemic like na lockdown, unsay mahitabo next year sa COC? Okay, so ako siguro mo answer ani kay si Fasco ang ilang category karon is naa sila sa micro co-ops. So I think as I've said earlier po ma'am, dili nami mo issue og certificate of compliance to those cooperatives na wala naka undergo og trainings, mandatory trainings, all officers. So when you talk about officers sa cooperative, dili lang ang board of directors, kundi apil ang mga officers from other committees based sa atong organizational structure. So kadto sila tanan mag-undergo gyud sa seminar. So kung dili mo maka join sa atong mga anyway ang mandatory training namo sa for micro cooperatives webinar naman pud ta na ma'am, so dili na gyud ingon na tungod sa pandemic so medyo naatay hindrance sa paghatag sa mandatory trainings na face to face. So naami mga series of seminars through Zoom meeting or Zoom na platform. So anyway, we have CDS assigned naman sa atong area, so they will disseminate the link for the mandatory trainings for the for those micro co-ops. So don't worry ana ma'am. So kung na-lockdown mo, anyway kung naka-lockdown mo siguro accessible man siguro pud sa inyo ang internet, no? So naman tay gadgets as long as natay internet connectivity, natay gadget, so you can access the link na among ihatag sa atong mga micro co-ops. All right? So naapatay pahabol. So last, from Mary Lee Ann Antoque. So follow-up question, what if dili makolek ang loan release through optional fund? What will happen?
Okay. Dili makolekt.
Okay.
Actually, that's the responsibility man talaga. That's the responsibility of the board of directors and the management to collect. No, so if ever makolekt, in our ISCA, in the standard chart of accounts, whatever uncollected or past due accounts, it will be charged to expense talaga. So debit budgets, automatic debit budgets, and then our credit allowance for budgets. So allowance muna. So but there's the term, no? So siguro within 1 year di makolekta, so that's chargeable to budgets na. Just report it to the external auditor. In spite of the effort to collect. So wala na gyud, budgets gyud ang appropriate account title. So it's expense charged to operation. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Doc. So napatay mga pahabol questions diri. Regarding ni siya sa kuan Doc sa kadong mandatory training. So from Ma'am Cora,
Ma'am Jelds,
still 5
Ma'am
years.
Jelds.
Yes po.
Ma'am Jelds,
yes, Doc.
actually, I think my suggestion lang, actually another topic good ang cooperative taxation and cooperative accounting. I can free myself anyway nag-work from home man ko. You can also I will volunteer again. You can offer it to RCDC 10 members now regarding taxation and accounting. So that's another topic. So we will invite the bookkeepers, the accountants, and also the board of directors para for governance purposes. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Doc. So siguro we will have another meeting ani sa RCDC, no, to schedule
Yeah.
for that
Taxation
seminar for the
and the standard
taxation
chart of accounts. Standard chart of accounts.
SCA. Okay.
The SK.
For we will have a meeting on that, Doc, sa siguro by the end of this October, since we are celebrating October month celebration, so mas maayo
Kaya
nga
pa.
natay mga
Kaya pa
unani na
within
mga
October.
kaya pa.
Ma'am Jels, kaya pa.
Kaya pa. Okay.
October 31, malayo pa. Sige.
Alright.
Sige. Miss G.
Yes. Yes, June, ikaw ni June?
Ako na G. Kanang regarding
Yes,
sa Surfasco,
okay.
nag-invite ako sa tanan nga mga micro co-op. Di lang ako makuhaan kung iyaha kay pwede mo hatag siya sa kuag email ad so that maka-invite na ko sa iyaha kay dili magkukutanan na email ad sa tanang mga micro co-op. Palihog lang kung kuan sa iyang hatag na ako akong number and then magkuan na ta email lang sa kuang email ad. I-text na sa kuang email ad aron ma-invite na ako siya. If ever wala siya naklawaan ako na invite. Thank you.
Okay, noted. Yes, June. Okay. So, for anyway, Pasko kuan naman minimum Eva, text naman minimum Eva. So mangayro ko sa iya og kuan email for the link o para masandan sila og link. Okay, so I think everything is covered naman siguro, no? Nalantay from Ma'am Cora. So regarding sa training sa atong mga officers, kung naa ba sila expiration. So actually sa bago na circular karon sa CDA, wala na expiration ang mandatory trainings or mga training sa officers. So as long as ang atong mga officers naka-undergo na atong duha ka mandatory training. So again, kadong fundamentals of cooperative and good governance and management, for wala na to siya expiry as long as buhi pa inyong co-op o buhi pa pud do atong officer. So wala pa gyud na siya expiration. So as long as naging officer na siya certificate, basta na lang siya proof na naka-undergo siya ato na seminar, so valid gyapon na siya. Walay expiration ang term sa mandatory trainings ni CDA or sa kung ahan na niya na kuha na training from a work accredited na training provider or from CDA. Okay. So I think
Facebook Live, ma'am.
Cover na ba nako?
Ma'am, nag-question
yes,
sa Facebook Live. Ma'am, new applicant pa sa CDA.
Yes, sir.
Unta po kung basinhan ba ang educational attainment para sa selection of BOD and officers.
Oh, mao ba? So, as to the selection of the board of director being an officer, application for officer, wala na siya. Actually, that is depending on the bylaws sa cooperative. So, kung naay policy ang cooperative regarding sa educational attainment for those members na gusto mo run as officer sa co-op, so naa salay limitations silang co-op, but generally kung walay restriction na giset ang cooperative regarding sa status, educational status sa atong members, wala siya. That is depending lang na siya sa policy or the bylaw sa co-op kung naa sila restriction. And also the election committee, if naa sila policy sa pag-screen sa applicants for that certain position, so depende na ni election committee kung na siya policy as to the educational attainment sa atong mga members. Okay, so I think everything is na-answer naman siguro nato, no? So any more questions? So time check, it's 11:49. No? So siguro before we will end our our session for this morning. Pwede i-on ang inyong camera para naapod tayo.
Mamilda, napay nangutana, taga Busco,
Yes.
Quezon.
Oh, naapad eh.
Oh,
From Busco, okay. From Busco, pwede mangutana unsa gani ang mga mandatory trainings for small to large cooperatives. So for small to large cooperatives, number 1 is the fundamentals of cooperative. Second is good governance and management. And those cooperative with deposits na 3 million and above, requirement na nila na naay financial management. So tulo lang siya kabuok for the small and large cooperatives. Okay? So, sige, please, ako lang i-request, kindly on your camera for documentation, no? Okay, para makita po namo ang mga naon sa atong mga participants karong adlaw, no? Mga maanyag kaayo. Okay, sige. So, 1, 2, 3. Smile. Okay. Again. 1, 2, 3. Smile. One, two, three. Smile. 1, 2, 3. Smile. All right. Okay, so kinsa may mo close atong program karon, pwede ta mangayo og message from naa ba si Ma'am Chemco, si Ma'am Vice Chair from Chemco, Ma'am Verge.
Yes, Ma'am Janet, Ma'am.
Si Ma'am Janet. Yes.
Yes.
Ma'am Janet.
Hi.
Closing na
Hi, Ma'am Janet.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello, sir.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello, good noon.
Good noon po.
Of course, I would like to say very big or very huge thank you to our resource speaker, Sir Dr. Gerry, and of course also to the CDA, labi na yun ang the beautiful Ma'am Jilds, and of course our chair of the RCDC, Sir Manny, and the rest of the members of the RCDC, and of course all the co-ops who participated in this webinar. This has been a very, very informative, very, very up-to-date, no? Na also a refresher to everyone, maski sa amoa, sa Chemco. I hope and I pray that there would be more trainings, there would be more seminars, especially this pandemic, no? So Zoom lang ta, pero mauro gid ang kulang, pero ang mga knowledge natong makuha, tako gyapon kaayo og very, very beneficial. We pray, no, that this pandemic will be over, this will soon be over para makamit ta personally and we can be of service to our cooperatives, to our fellow members, also to the community that we are serving for the greater glory of God. So God bless everyone. Stay safe. Padayon ang atong serbisyo, bisan pa man sa pandemic. So akong balikon, daghang salamat sa tanan. Let's connect. Let's stay tuned to our vision and mission Let's respond to the needy, no? And also to our co-op and our members. So God bless everyone.